welcome to today's brown bag. Right. May I introduce you to Professor Kevin Chung from the Education University of Hong Kong. We have known each other for more than 20 years. When we did our PhD at the same time in the University of New South Wales. And then after that, Kevin became an expert in special education. And then he built himself up further to become an expert in early childhood education. Multiple talents, multiple disciplines. So we're happy to have you here.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Now, again, it's a wonderful opportunity for me to be here. And so it's not really related to positive education, but in the same area. Give you some background, a little bit background why I'm looking at this particular topic. And in fact, thank you, Alex. I'm actually, for the past 10 years, I've been really focused on reading difficulties. But then 3 years ago, and I had this particular interest. I said, look, Hong Kong, everybody thinks it's a developed country. Well, it's a developed city. I won't call country, be careful. It's a city. So what happened? And people think poverty is not a big issue in Hong Kong, but now we have I just check on my internet, on Google's. In Hong Kong, the biggest reserve, something billion dollars in the reserve. We are the top 4 reserve in the whole world. So can you imagine how much money you put in the bank? But what happened to this SES, socioeconomic status, poverty? Is that exists in Hong Kong? So now I'll start looking at this topic here. I better do this. So, originally I think I'll talk about one study until I got a proposal from Rana and Alex said, oh, we're doing some intervention work as well. Then I say, oh goodness, let me put another study too in, a little bit about intervention study, which I haven't published yet. So, so this is really like a continuous study. So that I'd like to share with you a little bit of our study on the intervention part as well. So thank you for the proposal. So that made me start thinking, so I had to very quickly to analyze the data for the study too. Okay, so, all right, so basically give you some idea about SES, the poverty in the part of the world. So I have looking at this and start thinking about Hong Kong. Hong Kong is just one city from part of China, and we are kind of like pretty well developed and pretty, in terms of the standard of living, pretty high. We are pretty much like New York in a way, in Hong Kong, the standard of living. So this is roughly, that's what we will look at. So there are different color indicating different poverty rates. So I'm not going to go into really detail about all the literature review because I think we all know about how SES are linked with different whole child development. Okay, so I'm not going to go into detail on different part. But I'm particular myself, I'm interested in literacy learning. That is something I really want to look at. And would there be a big difference between children when they're from kindergarten to go to formal schooling, particularly in Hong Kong situation? So, so that is something that I would like to look at. So there are plenty of literature review have been done in the West, looking at the differences between from kindergarten to formal school. So in other words, if you are poor or if you are living in a disadvantaged area or come from a low SES background, you tend to somehow, when you go to school, there will be a big difference between those literacy skills. So there's a ton of research done in the US and UK. There are not much work done in Greater China. So that is something that I want to look at it. What are the differences in terms of literacy skill, language skill, and the cognitive skill? So this is just a brief summary of different research from the West. So it's going to highlight a few things to you. So we all know that equality exists when they are in the early years. So Then I jump to the census in 2016. So in Hong Kong, we divide by 80 districts. So then, a particular one kind of interested to me, I said, look, would there be a possible there's one area, one suburban area that will show particular high, low-SES differences? But there are, particularly in two areas here, we call Socioeconomic and Wun that there are high percentage of poverty rate under this district. But what's interesting, you can see is spread all the 18 districts or area in Hong Kong. This is surprising. Now, when I talked to a social worker, very experienced social worker, just a few days ago, and they told me in the past, there are only a certain district focus on, like they have poverty rate. That will be on this area, but now you can see it's spread all different areas. That means, for me, it will be difficult when I do research on this area. That means I need to do the testing or actually implement the intervention program across the whole 18 districts. So, something that interesting, but going to make my life difficult because to collect data or to implement an intervention program, I have to make sure that I cover the 18 areas. So, so something unexpected, and also unexpected, you can see the right-hand side, that will be a 23% kids in Hong Kong will be under poverty rate. Okay, so so this is roughly, you can see the Gini coefficient, so 0.539, so it's pretty high. This is surprising. So in other words, you get a group of, you get two different groups of, I guess, populations or community group. So one's really rich, one are really poor. So this is what happened in Hong Kong. So it's worrying. So so child poverty rate in 2017 is about 20%. So it's still very hard. It's shocking, isn't it? This is what I try to convince the government, that you have to do something about it. So I'm going to tell you the policy later, so that's what we try to do. So we also look at some, recently, you can see 1 out of 5 roughly below poverty line. About 20% people live in the poverty line, okay? So this is something that also a survey done by an NGO called the Federation of Youth Group. So they've done a survey. You can see what I really want to point out is those living under poverty line and those disadvantaged family, they also have problem with mental disability, and the parents have difficulty to handle their kids as well. So this is also, they are kind of linked. You can see the SES and a link with different factors as well. So something I think I was quite surprised to see this, particularly in Hong Kong. So that's something that, so I said to myself, we need to do something about it. So I start conduct a few studies. I'm going to share with you the first study first. Again, I think we often need the ecological system where you have the child and the family and the school and the community. So in particular, my first study focused on the child in terms of the children learning, language and executive functioning and the literacy skill. The next study, then I will look at the intervention program where I get the parents, the teachers to be involved into the intervention program. So I always believe start the ecological system as the framework to look at the child. Okay, so that is something that, so the child's right in the middle, so we're going to look at other support later on. So, the way I look at SES, I'm looking at income, parent education, occupational status. That's what I look at. So what I combine these 3 index into one SES score. That's what I do. So this is the index I use to look at the cognitive development and the family characteristics and school environment. I'm going to set up this because when I'm going to talk about study 1, and study 2, they all link together with this SES index. So before I start this study, I did actually a review on low-SES across different parts of the world, and that published 2 years ago, 2015. So I basically look at how this possible factor are linked with low-SES. So for my study 1, I particularly look at 2 research questions. One, I look at how low-SES different in terms of cognitive linguistic skill and the academic skills outcome. So the way I did it, in 3 outcomes: Math, English, and Chinese. That's my outcome measure. So I'll start looking at this study in kindergarten 3. Okay, in Hong Kong, we have 3 grades in kindergartens. I guess similar here as well. 99% children will attend kindergartens. It's not a compulsory requirement, but almost 99% parents will send their kids to kindergarten. So I'll start looking at the study in final year of kindergartens. So looking at English and Chinese and Maths. You might ask why I'm looking at English. So we learn English about age of 3.5, very early. But again, we learn just really like learning vocabulary, a bit of sound, so nothing heavy stuff. Okay, so in Maths, we learn something like number sense and a bit of problem solving, mathematical problem. So we do learn Maths very quickly. So in Hong Kong, so we learn Chinese that way. One thing you might ask me why I particular focus on what I call this cognitive linguistic skill. One is phonological awareness. We all know they're important, whether in English or in Chinese when they're young. So those of sound they need to learn is very important. And visual skill. So if the child can differentiate the shape, different shape. So because they have many about studies show that if they have that sort of skill, can discriminate visual space and visual shape, that will link with Chinese reading very strongly. So I had to put my list in. And verbal interaction. So basically, I want to look at how the parents and the child they talk at home. So verbal interactions. So my lovely one, executive functioning, which I've been really interested in the past 2 years. Look at how this general cognitive skill are linked with different things. So this are pretty. So this is my first study looking at whether there are differences between 2 groups and how do they link together. Okay, so then people ask me why I'm looking at low and mid SES, not high, because for me high is not an interesting population at this moment. I particularly want to look at the mid SES. So I have the so-called average mid SES and the low SES, so that I can do the differences. So of course I can look at high as well, but to me I don't see it meaningful. Have a group of high SES to compare. So, but interesting later on. But for this study, we look at the mean. So one of the things this study I really want to power of this study is when I choose the kids, I'm actually choosing the kids in the same classroom, same school, paired with low and high kids together. Low and medium kids together. So I can control all these other variables, like the curriculum differences and the school differences as well. So the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's just a nightmare to get a pair of pairing up kids in the same school, same class. So it's something I want to share with you, but I think it's important. So if you can show the differences of this. So this is something I like really power this. I haven't done this for a long time, so managed to get a same pair of kids in the same class, same school. So managed to control other variables. So because kindergarten is still kind of like a private NGO in Hong Kong, so you can expect that big differences in terms of instructions, in terms of what they learn. So that's something that I want to share with you, but also can share with you that's a very painful process for us for doing all this pairing up kids and controlling the different variable. Okay, so all right, so I believe everyone knows about EF. So EF seems to link with different things. I'm not going into detail on this, but in particular, I would like to talk about the left-hand side, which my study will be more focused on the academic numeracy and the reading on that side. And recently, I'm started working on this side, so look how EF link with all the soft skills. Okay, I know it's strange. I'm not going to make this up, but I always tell my kindergarten teachers, the parents. I said, you know, we know in kindergarten, in the layman term, we have to learn hard skill and soft skill for kids. So soft skill, I'm talking about those like social-emotional development, and the hard skill, I'm talking about, hey, reading, math. That's hard skill. So we've been doing really well in terms of the hard skill. You can see our PISA, we rank number 3, even higher in the world scale in terms of like reading and math, problem solving, all this sort of hard skill. But now I divide these two parts to make parents and teachers know what I'm talking about. So it's just so to grab the idea. So the left-hand side is hard skill. So, all right. So EF is a big umbrella term. So we're still debating, right? Whether it's how these different components together, or whether they one component we treat that as a one dimension, or we treat that as multi-dimensions. So, but for kindergarten, this is me. I always believe two components are important: working memory, introductory control. So for young children, I think they are more related to their study in cognitive development. Cognitive development. But when they go older, we can put it into other bits like cognitive flexibility, planning, and other bits. But for my current study, even more on working memory and division control, well, we still can debate on that. So let's go on. Oh, I want to show you one task. Do you familiar with this head and shoulder task? Yes, no? Okay, can I get the... Okay, let's hope it works. Now, this is a random classic task. Not classic task, some tasks I think the kids like. I want to So I'll just give you an example on this task, but I'm in the Chinese version. We do a similar thing. So we get the kids to, so my instruction will say, I touch my head, and you touch your toes, the kids. Okay, I touch my shoulder, certain kids. So this sort of activity, can you see what's happening? Basically, this task composed a couple of things: inhibition, instruction, and what else?
Inhibitory control.
Sorry?
Inhibitory control?
Yeah, that's here. Yeah. But in general, working memory, inhibition control, and basic attention. So the kids love it, but again, it's a very painful task because you get to have two people to be. Well, one had to do the testing, one had to do the observation, the scoring. Okay, I'm also using the videotape as well to do the interrogatory test. So most of my study using this task, I would randomly choose 10% to do the reliability testing rating. Okay, so otherwise people will say, well, how do you know they do it correctly?
Head-shoulders flows is very similar to Simon Says. So there's a leader who gives instructions, and then the children have to follow those instructions. Head, toes, knees, and shoulders task is a noticing task that looks at behavioral aspects of self-regulation. Self-regulation is at the basis of thoughtful behavior and underlies performance in most areas of school learning. Head and toes.
I say, your head moving much. Sure, that's right. That's it. Your toes. Yeah, that's right.
Then we're going to go a little bit faster.
Touch your head.
Touch your toes. In the second part of the game, the children are introduced to having to touch their knees and their shoulders. Touch your knees.
So they're getting more
Touch your
activities
knees.
in here. So you need the shifting as well.
Touch
So
your
it
knees.
makes
The
the
third part
muscles
of the
working
game
well.
is incorporating parts 1 and 2. So the children have to hold in mind different behaviors in terms of touching their knees, touching their shoulders, touching their toes, touching their head, and doing the opposite of their toes.
Touch your shoulders. Toes.
This game, you can see the children have to not only pay attention, they have to also remember instructions as the game goes on and builds in complexity, and they also have to control their motor responses.
Touch your head. Alright.
So the game might seem really simple, but it's actually quite challenging for adults. All the kids did really great with it, especially how even children's mom was done.
Okay, so so this is the task I translate into Chinese version, and I try out different version and see which ones fit this is more fun. Okay, so that task I'm actually translate different version. I'll just get one more word about that task. In Hong Kong, I guess our kids tend to do well on this, on the head and toe task, so I could give in more components, more activities, so to make it more complex for them. So I guess you would say that we are very selective in terms of what we taught our kids in classrooms. So they're very good at anything about inhibition tasks. So I've been trying different inhibition tasks. They tend to be get to ceiling very quickly. For many EF tasks. So, but this task seems to work well, and kids love it because it's getting kids that now do different things, so they're really excited. But for scoring, data collection is very expensive for us.
How do you score it? How do you score it? Do you score by the duration of the actual?
Not duration, just the accuracy.
Okay.
So one we tell the kids instruction, the other assistant look at whether the kids do the right movement, action. So there's 0-1 score.
Okay.
So the other part I get from logical awareness, and we just give them a sound, for example, car and far, for example, and cup. These are different from mimic awareness, from logical awareness. Same thing for Chinese. So the visual skill. So I'm using the what we commonly use the Gardner task, where you can see, for example, how the 5 visual skill there, which ones are different. So the kids have to find the differences on that. So we call it visual spatial skill, which are very strongly related to Chinese word reading. So we found that not just my team, other team as well in Hong Kong. So I guess it's just the Chinese have this with very good visual and complex skills. So these visual skills are very important. So something from that as well. So another survey, remember on that, I also want to talk to you about the visual interaction. So we actually have 10 items, so 12 items. And so we get the parents to fill in how much they interact at home. So we're going to look at the home environment as well. So that's why I'm using the ecological model to put all these different variables to fit into the model. So going to the study here. So very nice, they have two different groups. So you can see the result. You can see the group differences between two groups. And so a little bit about background information. So in terms of the gender, and also the two different groups, so we are pretty good control that. So we have the 102 for the total group. For the two, yeah. So basically, this is what we can see the group differences. So there are differences in most of it. In the executive function, I'm actually using technical tasks and also working memory to deal into it. So the study want to compare two groups. So this basically, I just want to recap the tasks we used. So we also look at the path as well. Look at the direction. See which one contribute what. So what's important? You can see the chronological awareness are important. So they mediate to reading pretty much on Chinese as well. So the sound is still very important in young kids in home when they need to learn to read both in Chinese. Okay, something in English too. So not just the phonological skill, but also the visual skill as well. So this is something that we found very important too. Not just the visual skill for Chinese, but for this study, English word reading is always important. So what basically this single word, okay, this single word. I didn't talk about maths here because in the next study, it doesn't link with the next study we do intervention in English and Chinese. But the paper published in the Egyptian psychology, we'll go into detail about that study, the one I just mentioned. So it's published last year. So the idea is you can see SES particular contribute a lot on English word reading. But in terms of Chinese, there are no direct relationship for that. But you can see the group differences. Now, one of the explanations, you might ask, why this happened? Why particularly English? So, my speculations, or our suggestion is because if you come from a low-SES family and you have not sufficient resources, so, and particularly your own family, in terms of the mom or the dad, the education are much lower than the mid-SES group. So when it comes to English, they struggle to teach their kids about their English. Whereas Chinese, one of the ways I explain this, why Chinese is not we wouldn't find a major concern for SES. Again, my argument is because the parents, Chinese parents, so they still able to help their kids by learning words by heart. What called look in Hong Kong, we still we call the look and say method. So basically by memory. So
Sorry, when you're talking about reading both in English and Chinese,
Yeah.
did you test their decoding ability or did you test their comprehension? Or
No, word reading, just decoding.
just the decoding.
Yeah.
So if they could read it but they didn't know what it meant, that was fine. It was just
Yeah,
okay.
just decoding.
Yeah.
So that's my explanation is when they learn English, the parent need to know, okay, what's the word, the sound, pronunciation of the English word. So you need the skill. So, and for the Chinese, I guess the kids still in kindergarten, the parents probably still able to teach the kids some simple word. That's why you can see the low impact on that. But high impact on the English for the low-SES. So one explanation is probably the resources. Where the mid-SES, they probably can, the parent education much better in terms of they might have a degree, most of them have a degree in their family, their education, and also good job, I guess, in a professional job. So they might send their kids to tuition as well. I know it's crazy, right? It could be crazy, but in Hong Kong, the parents send their kids to play group when they are about 18 months, maybe younger, or they start learning English and tuition Chinese when they're right in kindergarten. So that's the difference. So that's explanation. I think we need to further study on this. Same thing for maths. The maths, you can see the difference as well in two groups. So my argument the same thing. Maths, the mid-SES parent, they probably will send their kids to the tuition as well. So that's happening as well. So what do we do next? So that's why I'm starting about study 2. This is the first study. We look at in Hong Kong, the group looking at the low-SES with how they link with their learning outcome. So my next study say, well, let's try our intervention program, which we just finished. So I was rushed to kind of a few days to analyze the data. So the intervention program is about, it took about 2 years to prepare the materials and the intervention program. So let me talk about a little bit about the intervention program. So based on this study, and then I'll start to think about, okay, what are we going to do? We can just looking at, okay, there are good differences. We can see there are English particularly important, Chinese also important as well. What do we do? So one thing in the literature we know that for the low-SES group, what do we do? One way we can support them. Okay, we can do pull-out and pull-in program in terms of literacy program to support them to hopefully will close the gap. So that's in the West, there are Head Start program in America, and I think that's a program in here as well, right? In Australia too, the 1 or 2 program that in our side, right? Multi-lingual. So, but in Hong Kong we don't have any evidence-based scientific program. You can see, pretty much my team just started looking at this issue. So we have to try out, based on the first study, what to put in for our intervention program. So when we start doing this, we also refer back to the existing literature from US and UK as well. So this is a big project. I'm going to talk to you one part. I'm going to talk to you about homeschool environment literacy program first. So this is basically what I really want to do eventually in the coming years. So also looking at the parent and teacher interaction as well, outcome. This is what I want to do. The whole two thing. So, but today I'm going to be looking at the language literacy skill about EF. So in my coming project, I'm going to deal with these two. So they're all based on one project outcome. Then I'll develop the other follow-up. So this is how I normally do in terms of different research project. So this is something I want to do. So study 2. So we just finish the data collections, the program is 5 months literacy language program on Chinese and English. I will tell you a bit more about the intervention program later. So the idea, I want to develop a local program for homeschool literacy program for Hong Kong. So here's what I want to do. So we have 18 Chinese lesson, 12 English lesson. Again, this is for kindergarten K3, the final year of kindergartens. And parent workshop as well. So this is roughly the framework we want to do. Just in case you're not familiar with our curriculum, the preschool curriculum in Hong Kong. So this is the latest what we call the curriculum guideline 2017. So from kindergarten K1 to K3, so they need to learn all this different domain based on the government policy. So the reason I want to show it to you because our work is fitting here, but we more focus on a particular group of children and family. I believe you have a similar curriculum for kindergarten here, preschool here as well. So we call that similar in a way, aligned. So again, for this intervention project, so because the kids are so young, so I'll focus on oral language. Okay, so Chinese and English lesson, and a little bit about vocabulary knowledge. So they learn sight word. And also, remember I showed you earlier about the phonological awareness of sound. So as well, orthographic knowledge. Basically in Chinese, you got to know the different shape and a different position of the characters. So we put in there morphological awareness as well. So it's one of the morphological awareness in Chinese is very important. So we have a lot of similar sound characters. And some of those characters look similar, but they can be different. And most of our Chinese characters of word, they form by what we call by combination. So have A plus B, it can be A plus B meaning. But when A plus C, the meaning will be different. So that's very quite complex in terms of Chinese. A little bit about Chinese system. So morphological awareness is very important. So basically, you got to know the meaning of the particular unit and the sound of the particular unit. But what really important, you need to know how to combine these individual characters together to form words. You can say Alex, nothing happened. So in this intervention program, I have 5 features. We have to make it fun, right? You can't just get the kids just sitting to learn all those cognitive linguistic skills, so boring, right? So we have to design an interventional program with some idea. So I always start with something about play-based learning. With this 5 things in mind when we develop our lesson and activities. So make it fun. So I'm going to show you some examples how we do that. So one important is homeschool operations. Remember I have the framework workshop for parents as well. So you wonder why I'm doing that workshop there. So I guess when we do intervention, we just can't rely on the teachers. Important you get the parents on board as well. But one thing I want to tell you, getting the low-SES family on board is difficult. You've got like help, right? They'd be interested in coming to help their child, but they're not. There are reasons for that, I think, because they have work. They're pretty much like working in a shift work, like in terms of like evening or different time. So they're not willing to come for the workshop, but we're trying our best. I'll tell you a bit of a trick later how we're going to deal with this, but it's still not good enough. So something that I learned from this project, how we're going to help the parents. Within that, I always believe we need to have the child. I want to talk about child-centered approach. So whatever we do is the child learning. And so also a little bit continuous assessment. Now again, I want to share with you when I talk about continuous assessment, I'm not talking about like formal assessment. I'm talking about something like fun, something like you get the kid to say a few words and just a no observation. So, alright, this is Chinese. I know in Chinese we have 18 lessons. Just want to show to you. I know you probably can read this, but if you can't, it doesn't matter. This is just my theme. Okay, you can see the different theme for each lesson. So each lesson will cover different, some of them together, some of the different, what I call the cognitive linguistic skills for each lesson. This for Chinese, we have 18. I'm going to show you the English as well. So we start with human heart, animals, and transportations for 12 lessons. So we only do two things for English: vocabulary knowledge and oral language, and foundational awareness. So when we talk about oral language, you just get the kids to say a sentence verbally. And so, because again, English is the second language for our kids, so we can't do too many, even though they are in their final year kindergarten. So we also don't want to demotivate the kids because they're getting too hard, they don't know what it is, and they don't want to learn English. So this is something that we try to do in the intervention program. Okay, so each lessons we have 5 minutes and 20 minutes and 5 minute calculations. So it's about 30 minutes each lesson in kindergartens in Hong Kong. So in Hong Kong we have whole day kindergarten. We also have half day kindergarten as well. So that's how it works. So we, for the intervention program, we in school once per week for 30 minutes. So I'll give you some example when we talk about theme-based learning. So human body, say using a monkey here, and roughly tell you like each lesson what we do, objective, what sort of wording they need to learn. So this is for teachers, not for the kids. Okay, the teachers need to know about this. We want to show you about play-based learning as well. So this is in Chinese as well. So we didn't do this in English because this is more important. Look at learning the shape, the character shape, positions in Chinese. So we do that. I'll show you an example how we break the word. For example, the word here. This is the hand. And what's that hand mean? So we also show you there are some characters that are in two different positions. So we're using this, for example, that to demonstrate that. So this is one of the examples we try to teach the kids in learning Chinese characters. They're in different positions. Some on the left, some on the right. Okay, so some on the up, some on the bottom. So this is something we use a different kind of like activity to demonstrate the position. Outside, we're also using game as well. So musical game to do this. So to learn the phonological awareness. So we have home takeaway activities. This is what we do in kindergarten here. Similar, learning a bit of concept and rhyme. So we're using this as well. Activity. So my teachers, two kindergarten teachers, came up with this sort of activities. So we can just get book from other countries because they're probably not familiar with sound. So we based on those existing reference book from Australia and from UK. So we divide our own so that it's suitable to our kids. Another thing, we're also using multi-sensory strategy as well. So you get the kids, for example, learn a monkey touching it and using eating, sightseeing as well. So Okay, so same thing. We just want to give you an example using that as well. So it's fun. So hopefully the kids will come into lesson. They do different things, type activities. Okay, this is how it looks like in lesson plan. So each lesson we have to come up with a lesson plan. So what lesson plan will tell you like, okay, today we're going to do this. We have a poster. We have activities. Are you all teachers here? Never mind. You know, some of you, right?
I am.
I am too. So you know, we went through this, right? You have objective outcome, and yeah, you don't know. This is our bread and butter, right? So so we kind of, now we all kind of look ahead. You know, each lesson we need to have one of this because that's very important when you go to the classroom. You know what you're talking about. So we have come up with 28 of this. Oh, 12 and 18. Yeah, 12 and 18 for Chinese and English as well for 5 months. So just give you an example. This is about circuit. So we have that in Chinese. We have 16 Chinese lessons, 12 in English. So we have 16 of this Chinese lesson plan. More important, we're going to talk to you a bit more about the parent workshop. So we using the velocity reading scheme. Anybody know about that? Would you all familiar with that? So basically, the idea is not reading a book, a storybook to the kid silently. We want the parents to talk to the kids, making conversations. So they talk about the story. Okay, show you a bit. You're probably familiar with this. Velocity reading has been done in the US. So basically, you have a story. You need to learn. You need to put 4 things in here. We call the peer, form, evaluation, expand, and repeat. The method we used. So this method found really useful when the parents and the child read at home. Oh, this is the right-hand side because after we have the workshop, we also send a reminder to the kid, to the parents. So we show the reminder step, what they have done in the workshop with the child. So this is just something we set up. Remind, we have to use these strategies. In the fall workshop, I can tell you a bit later. It's not easy to get parents to try this out. But we at least we attempt to do it. So again, under the peer, what we call the peer, diagnostic reading, using this technique, under the poem, you will have 5 things you need to do while reading a story. Condition, recall, open-end, and why question, wisdom. Just under the poem. Okay, how you prompt the student, the child, when you read. So we use this for our reading, diagnostic reading at home. So this is basically what we got for our study. You can basically look at a little bit about our participant. So we have 67 and 100 in control on this study here. So we try to look at whether there are any effects at all on those interventions we put in. So you can see the control group where they have received no interventions. Okay, no intervention at all. So they are low SES, both groups are low SES, but no intervention at all. One group control. Our kind of wait list, I won't say no intervention, wait list. So after we finish our intervention, we follow up with them. So we did the pre and post, looking at those measures. So I want to show you this. We're using the mixed method and NOVA repeat measure to look at the changes. We're quite happy that we can see the changes happening within 5 months, particularly these 3 domains, with intervention, without intervention. So you can see the slope a little bit. Improve, particular, I think, vocabulary knowledge changes. So something good case about it. But we show you about the English as well. Bigger, yes. Wonderful, isn't that? Remember the study 1? We thought, hey, is that something the parents can do? Is that resource issues? Or is it the methods? So in this study, you can see we actually put in intervention program for the parents for English. It's much bigger important. So in that way, I'm really happy. So my predictions turn out. Well, in a way, well, I hope it's right. So they need help. They need support. That child can make a difference. We can close the gap. So very encouraging for me on this. So something I'm really excited about. Thanks for the proposal. I'll just get my act together and analyze it very quickly. So you can see a big difference. So what's the implications? Well, I guess I only have implications. We can close the gap. Some of those are particular the literacy skill, language skill. Okay, so you might ask, what happened to EF, extended functional skill? I don't know. I haven't done anything on that yet, but that is on my plan, which I want to look at whether the EF will close the gap as well. Hopefully there will be a difference between 2 groups. Particular attention and working memory under control. In the West, they found that the EF, there are big differences between the low and mid-SES. So we found some of those differences too, and something that what I want to do in the coming project. So for policymakers, one of the things I think I've been trying to work with the policymaker and try to send this message to them. Look, we can't just pretend that nothing happened. The poverty rate. Well, they probably know the poverty rate happening in Hong Kong, but they have actually thinking about the child, the family, what they need. So I think this is a very important message to the policymaker. I want them to really think about it. We need to do things quickly and early interventions, particularly low-SES group. And we tend to focus a lot on kids with SEN, special education needs, but we tend to forget this group. We think they eventually they're fine. We stop. So this is a message I wanted to work with the policymaker. In a way, it's kind of it's a good message. So my last bit is what do we do next for the parents? So I hope even though we have a lot of books in the library, in the public library, we couldn't go, unfortunately. And we don't read much in Hong Kong. And I just look at the big update statistics, the work statistic, the PEAL, I think it's called the reading measure. We are really on the, I think we are on the 21% of our parents, based on attainment statistics, roughly. In other words, we don't need much on to the child parents. Recently, we only about 20% of our parents are doing the reading with the child. So it's not a good thing. Based on that, that information. So basically, my message is that's it. So far, this is 2 empirical studies for my team and from Hong Kong. So I'm looking forward to your suggestions and how we will move forward to the area, I guess. And, again, I'm not speaking more about the parent side, but we all experiencing about positive educations, how to get parenting in and you know, to make the parent feel this is important. They own this program and they be part of this.
Thank you for your presentation. So how do you get the parents involved?
Okay, so I'm using a school as a school base. So the child is from school. So we invite the parents, the child from the parents, to join in as well. So we're using school base to do that. So basically, when we select our kids based on school. So the parents, we get them in like Saturday afternoon or in the evening. So sometimes we have workshop, less than 10 people. So we still try. But we also call them up as well. For example, like they come for one workshop, sometimes they disappear. So we call them and we ask them why. And we encourage them to come back as well. Yeah.
It could also be that you're right, they might be doing shift work or they might not have literally the time, but also there's a potential that when they're at school, school wasn't a particularly happy place for them and it's quite stressful. So the idea of going back to a school, that's what I've found. Anyway, with parents in lower SES, it's quite a stressful experience because they sort of remember their own experience at school and they're like, that's a scary place, I don't want to go. So maybe that's something to...
Yeah, I agree. That's something that I've been thinking about it for the coming project. I'm thinking we're going to organize something like a lunch parent workshop. So in terms, not in school this time, we're going to rent a community place. So we want to try this idea, having like lunch together with the child and the trainer together on a Saturday for 2 hours. So they come and then we have one session for the parents, and then have lunch together with the kids, and then we get the parent to child, the lots of meeting with the kids after lunch. Something sort of model. So we'll see whether we can increasing the parent involvement and sort of like to address the issue whether this possibility to come back to school is a worry. Yes.
Have you thought about how you're going to, the big issue in the States, in the US, with the interventions like this is that you show major changes and then they fade away. So have you given thought to what you're going to do to prevent the program, the effects from fading away, how it's going to be incorporated into the next years in school? Or
that's something we need to think about it. That's why I'm trying to negotiate with another foundations. So hopefully they will willing to support a bit more on this project here. So the project now I'm actually funded is by government, by a language research or a language policy group. So in Hong Kong, one thing they still like to fund short project. Just one project only within 1 or 2 years. So after that, we need to look for other funding. So, but now I'm talking to a potential pilot foundation. So they're keen about this. So, so one thing I'm trying to persuade them, we should down one grade early, like instead of final year kindergarten, go to kindergarten K2, and also we're going to do something on apps. So. So hopefully it will help, but I kind of understand like what happened when they go to primary school. What do we do next? So something I think we still have a long way to do, and I agree. I totally agree with this, and I guess we have just have to keep doing it.
In terms of apps, with the low SES children, how much access have they got to like computers, internet, mobile phones? Actually get technology into homes?
Something I talked to the potential owner. We're going to buy the iPad for the project. So we're going to rent it out. From that we're going to give it to the parents to try it out.
Uh-huh.
And hopefully, with that work, that will be all the materials and resources will be available for all the parents eventually. Yeah, we need to try that out. So, yeah.
Because one of the things that we find here with trying to work with parents and even like getting teacher assistants in the classroom or volunteers is we can train them, but then they can get it wrong. And so if we could actually use technology, it would be a lot easier, particularly with, you know, with English pronunciation,
Yes.
the different, you know, short vowels, long vowels, sound, phonemes, you know. I mean, so I think there's such a lot that we could do with technology, but I think the biggest mistake that we make, in general in research with young people, is that we don't ask them enough about what they think
Yes.
and what they would like, and capitalise on the agency of them. Because, I mean, even children this young can tell you the sort of things that they like. So I'd actually like to see apps and technology and applications built by actually having, you know, computer software designers working in collaboration with kids, like, and developing some up and go, that's going to be a hell of a big grant that people have to get. So hopefully there's lots of money in Hong Kong. You can get it done. We can borrow your stuff.
Yes. That's so something we try to persuade one of the donor. Well, he's keen, we'll say. So he also knows that this is important. And so sustainability, like what you mentioned, how we can sustain all this future development. And so we just now start thinking about, okay, let's think about apps, about IT. What if we, at the end, we finish this project and at least the material will be available for public to use.
Yeah.
So particularly the diagnostic reading, those storybook, I don't have copyright. So I did, the way I did it, I bought some book from a different publisher. And then I just had to use the existing collection, different collection, then it's the area and get it back. And the thing is, you know, when you do the diagnostic reading, remember those PM in the 4 poem. So you actually need to, each story, you have to give an instruction. So what I did is I'm actually using the yellow sticker, say, okay, story here, you gotta get a child to say this word here, or to talk to a child this way. So it's not really like local, not really friendly design for diagnostic reading. But hey, this is a resource problem. So so another thing I'm trying to persuade the donors was, can I have some money to do this diagnostic reading, our own collection, so we can make it available to the community. So something, yeah. So all this come from these 2 studies. So we branch out and do different things. And in a way, it's exciting work. In a way, it's quite challenging. You know, in terms of getting policy buy-in, getting the parents to think about their child a bit more, like the low-SES parents. So, yeah.
I mean, did you look at the minority groups? Like I know in Hong Kong, this is the poorest group.
Well,
but Socioeconomic, you look at all these districts, Socioeconomic is based where they live.
Yes. For the Alex is a very good bring this up. For the ethnic minority group, that one harder. In fact, I have a big project with Chung right now, but they are not research project. But it's small training teachers to teach Chinese to ethnic minority children, kindergartens. So, go back to your questions. The parents normally they come from different community groups, like they from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepalese, Indian, Philippine. Also come from Thai as well. But most of the parents, they don't speak Chinese, they don't speak English. So that's a challenge. Even now, that's why the government are really concerned about their child in kindergarten, because communication issues. and the expectation from the different community group. So, yes, something we need to focus on, but I think again, we need a lot of resources. Imagine I can now to tell you need a translator. We need someone to work with the parents trust the person. And also, interestingly, in the ethnic minority group, what was interesting? I'm sorry, just the ethnic minority group, their parents are very young. They get married very early. So by the time the parents are about mid-20, their son, the kids around 16. So they get married about 16, 17. And most of them marry, like I give example like Pakistan and a girl from Lebanese, get married about 16, 17, and they all come like match or told by the parent who she had to marry. So the reason I bring this out is not just the language issue, the culture factor as well, and the expectation from the parents as well. So yes, something is we need to look at, but I can tell it's going to be a long journey. But thank goodness the government now thinking, okay, we need to do something about, well, we need to support the ethnic minority group, even though in Hong Kong we have 90%, 99% is Chinese. We still have 1% ethnic minority group, where the population, the community group is growing very fast. So compared to the Chinese family, they're normally 1.5 sibling or 1.5 kids, but in the ethnic minority group, they tend to be 3 or 4 or more kids. So you can see the population going, that community group, and they all, and now the teachers kind of like don't know how to support their child when they're in kindergarten. We do that. Because teaching the Chinese as a first language, second language. So that's what something we learning together like that. But agree, most of them are in poverty from low-SES family, even below than what we are studying. Because most of the parents are not working, only the mom's not working. Or the dad seems to work. The moms always stay at home, and they stay together. So that's another thing that we need to work with the parents. So in the same group. So when a child gets after school care, so they go back and they speak that language as well. And so this is interesting, not interesting, I think something that we need to think about it in the long run.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Right, join me in thanking Professor Chung.